It started out as an ordinary Thursday afternoon at Wilson PI headquarters. I had just sat down with my cup of coffee and the latest edition of Detective Magazine when the phone rang.
Charlotte Wilson, PI.
He sounded distraught. I could tell he was doing his best to keep himself composed, but there's definitely some panic in his voice. He said someone had been murdered. Well, not someone, more of a something, and not murdered, just destroyed. A bear. A small brown bear by the name of Mr. Fuzzy Bear, his sister's favorite stuffed animal. I told him I'd come over and take a look, but that he shouldn't get his hopes up. I arrived at the house a few minutes behind schedule because the man was terrible at giving directions. One look at the fellow and I could tell he was scared. He was definitely uncomfortable, a bit shy perhaps. There was something slightly off about him. I wondered if I should turn back now before he whacked me in the head with a frying pan. But I had promised to help him, and that's exactly what I would do.
Charlotte Wilson, PI. We spoke on the phone.
Hi, I'm Neil. Neil Thatter. Come on, I'll show you where it happened. So, that's where I found him. Right there on the chair. So what do you think happened?
I usually get paid in advance.
Oh yeah, sorry. There it is. I forgot.
It's all here.
Yeah.
Alright, tell me what happened.
Well, the book was sitting on the corner of the dresser there, so I'm guessing it just fell off and crushed the little guy.
It's definitely bear stuffing.
Yeah, that's what I figured. So, what do you think happened exactly?
Oh, Mr. Thadar, please!
It's Thatter.
I need complete silence to work.
Okay, well maybe I'll go make a pot of coffee?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay, I'll go do that.
And then I saw something. Something I knew would blow this case wide open.
Very interesting. Huh. Even more interesting. I've solved the case!
Really?
Well, no, not really. But I do know one thing for certain. Mr. Fuzzy Bear was murdered.
So, how do you know Mr. Fuzzy Bear was murdered?
Well, Mr. Thadar, I found this.
Hair?
Precisely. I believe it to be a human hair.
How do you know it's not just fur from Mr. Fuzzy Bear?
Well, I don't know for certain. I'm going to have to send it to the lab and run some tests on it first.
Oh, okay. Well, how long do you think...
Neil, is it true? Is he really gone?
I'm so sorry, Heather. Charlotte, this is my sister, Heather. Heather, this is...
Charlotte Wilson, PI. A private investigator? But I thought you said it was an accident. I'm not sure yet, but I think he may have been murdered. Murdered? But who would want to kill Mr. Fuzzy Bear? That's exactly what I intend to find out. Did Mr. Fuzzy Bear have any enemies? No, not that I can think of. I can't believe he's really gone. Tell you what, how about I go back to my office, look over what I have so far, and I'll come back tomorrow after you've had time to grieve to ask you a few more questions. Okay, thank you, Inspector Wilson. Of course. Are those cookies?
Yeah. Do you want one?
Don't mind if I do. Maybe one more, for the road.
The next day, I went back to the Thaddar's home and asked Heather some questions about the late Mr. Fuzzy Bear. None of it was helpful. I started to think about the things I saw that first day at the Thaddar house, and that's when it came to me. A theory, an idea that tied together everything I learned and produced one undeniable conclusion. Then, I received something that confirmed my theory. The next day, I went back to the Thaddar house to share with them my theory.
This case has perplexed me the last few days. Who would want to kill such a sweet, innocent little bear? And then it hit me. Maybe no one wanted to kill him. Maybe it was an accident after all. That hair I sent to the lab, the results came back, and just as I suspected, it wasn't Mr. Fuzzy Bear's hair. But it wasn't human hair either. It was, in fact, dog hair.
A dog?
Yes. That dog, to be exact! I'm not following you. Here's how it went down. Somebody left a Ritz cracker with peanut butter on it next to the book that crushed poor Mr. Fuzzy Bear. Jenna, being just like every other dog, could not resist the temptation of peanut butter. However, when she jumped up to try to get that cracker, she knocked off that large book. And well, you know what happened after that. Was in fact not murder, but an accident. An accident caused by that dog's selfish, weak desire for peanut butter. Jenna, how could you? You're a bad dog. You're going outside. Looks like my work here is done. Be sure to call me if anyone else gets murdered in the future.
So I went back to Wilson PI headquarters, feeling pretty good about myself. Yet something remained in the back of my mind. The dog hair, the cracker, it all seemed a little too convenient. A few days went by and I couldn't shake the thought that something was wrong. And then it hit me. The answer to it all. I had made a mistake. The dog wasn't the killer. I called Heather Thaddar to confirm my theory.
Hello? Heather Thaddar. This is Charlotte Wilson, PI. It's Thadder. I have to ask you one more question about Mr. Fuzzy Bear's murder. What is it? Do you and your brother get along? Yes. We do fight sometimes. Were you fighting on the day of the murder? Yes. Yes, we were. Just as I suspected. Stay right where you are. I'm coming right over to expose the real killer. What? Miss Wilson? Inspector Wilson, hello?
What's this about, Miss Wilson?
This is about a bear. A poor, sweet, innocent bear that was taken from us far too soon.
Yeah, by the dog.
No, sir! Not by the dog, but by you!
Why would I kill Mr. Fuzzy Bear?
Here's how it really went down. You and your sister had been arguing earlier that day. You were angry and spiteful, and you took Mr. Fuzzy Bear with the intention of destroying him. But when you looked into those big brown eyes, you couldn't do it. So you left Mr. Fuzzy Bear in the chair thinking he'd be okay. But then no, the book! Oh, it fell! Crush Mr. Fuzzy Bear! It was too late. No more Mr. Fuzzy Bear. You knew when your sister found out, she would say you'd done on purpose. So you devised a plan. A devious plan to frame your own dog. You placed the cracker and the dog hair at the scene of the crime. And then you called me, letting me put all of it together. You thought you were clever. But Charlotte Wilson, P.I. is cleverer!
How'd you figure it out?
Something bothered me from the very beginning of this case. If Mr. Fuzzy Bear was your sister's favorite stuffed animal, what was he doing in your room? You are in trouble for taking Mr. Fuzzy Bear and for framing the dog. Your punishment, sir. To your room for the rest of the night with no supper. Thank you, Charlotte Wilson, P.I. I can sleep at night knowing that Mr. Fuzzy Bear's true killer has had justice. Looks like my work here is done. Again.
So I went back to Wilson PI headquarters, feeling good about myself. Again. I sat down with my cup of coffee in the latest issue of Detective Magazine when the phone rang.
Charlotte Wilson, P.I.
She sounded distraught, almost as if she had been crying. She kept going on about something. A sock? A missing sock that had been put into the washing machine but never came out. This looked like a job for Charlotte Wilson, P.I.